When performing project resource management, you will be executing the process of acquiring resources. This can be as simple as booking a facility meeting rooms to hiring staff, or something as equally sophisticated as procurement processing. It just depends on the resource. We have spent all that time detailing the resources we would need from the smallest to the largest things in all categories, and now it is time to acquire them for the project. Let's look at some examples and talk about the different types of acquiring resources that your project will be involved in. Your list will very likely have included meeting facilities for the project. If the project has identified the organizational offices as the facility that's going to house the project, acquiring is a bit of organizational procedures to get desk space, meeting rooms, workstations, interactive software for virtual meetings. Make sure you actually acquire the resource by making the reservations, getting the approvals. For example, if you need regular use of a meeting room, book it. If you need additional workstations set up in an area for your project in the office, get it approved and get it started. Make sure to actually acquire it. Don't just assume it will be available. Remembering all types of resources, it could be staff that is to be assigned to your project. You'll need to select the right staff for the project needs and ensure their availability. We will talk a bit more about this because acquiring human resources is all kinds of sophisticated. If the organization does not have the particular resource that you need available for your project, acquiring will be a bit more complicated. You may need to seek out software or physical facilities, which will need a bit of extra sophistication to acquire than an internal resource reservation. You may need to seek out contract staff to do certain roles in the project. You will acquire vendors' services with a contract. You can see where this is starting to mean more money for the project, and the process for acquiring is getting more sophisticated as well. There are procurement processes to help you with the arranging of these contracts. Materials and services that are well defined and industry standard are often acquired through picking from quotes or a more sophisticated RFQ, request for quote, if the dollar value hits a particular threshold in your organization. Your organization will have guidelines for such, but in basic you will be either asking a few companies for a quote for specific services or inviting a number of companies in a quote in a more controlled, sophisticated industry method of getting quotes for your organization. Again, it is your organization's policies that dictate which you should use. Human resources are a unique resource to acquire for a project. It requires a good understanding of what the skill sets that are needed to execute the project. Your core team to get the project started is almost always organizational resources and will help with getting an understanding for the project. You will probably already have a pretty solid work breakdown structure before engaging in acquiring additional internal or contract staff. Some organizations have a human resources department to guide you with the process of acquiring resources. So you will be involved in the interviewing, job posting, internal or external, and the selection of the desired human that meets the project needs. You can even use talent agencies external to your organization to help recruit the right staff for the project. Again, your organizational policies will often dictate when to use the resources source, but it's important to know the different ways to acquire human resources for the project. Sometimes your project has a large portion of the scope for which there are vendors in the experience or products to implement it. The project is still an organizational project, but a suitable vendor is needed to design and implement the project scope. This is where more sophisticated procurement methods are used, like request for information, RFI, or request for quote, RFQ, or request for proposal, RFP. There are a few other methods of engaging with a number of vendors to pick the right one to acquire for the project. Much like with acquiring human resources, there is a whole host of knowledge of these in the Project Management Bootcamp course. Click the link in this course or visit hksmnow.com to get a discount and really launch your understanding of project management.